Thank you all so much for joining the session today. Welcome to the Next Big Creator Summit 2022. And welcome to this session, which for me is a very exciting one. And I'm sure for you as a content creator in the audience will be super exciting and valuable as well. I'd like to introduce myself. I'll take 1 second to do that. My name is Sudeep, and that's the introduction. The more important thing is who we are joined by today, who will be talking to us, and that is Shashank Udupa, who is the co-founder of Avalon Scenes and a YouTuber, a content creator, and a swell guy overall. Interesting story, folks. The first time I heard about Shashank was not in the context of fintech. Shashank, I don't know whether you know this, man, but I heard about you first in 2020.
Oh
Uh,
wow,
any guesses how I heard about you?
2020. What was I doing? No man, no idea.
I'll give you a hint. You were flying.
Oh my God, did you read some article or something on
Yes,
Times of India?
yes. In
The
I
worst,
read an article in the Economic Times, folks,
worst
which
article
is
ever.
this article basically was about you. I believe it was from November 2020.
Hmm.
I pulled it up before our call today, and I was going through it again. And it talked about how you were taking a chance at Bangalore airport, flying, over
Yeah,
the masks and the machines that were there. And I
yeah,
remember reading and wondering who is this person who's brave enough to fly at this time when when so many of
yeah.
us are hunkering down in our homes. And but through you, we got a picture painted of Bangalore airport and what it was like to fly back then.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how I kind of met you, man.
So I think that was the worst title ever for a news article, because it just said CEO founder excited to fly with his hands in his pants, and I'm like, dude, what the hell? Like, who writes such things, man? I mean, it's clickbait.
I'll tell you the exact title. It says Avalon Meta Co-Founder found flying again exciting, kept hands in his pocket for most of trip. Now, the interesting thing about how this content is framed, since this session's about content, is it's divided into two sentences. The top part of the sentence on Economic Times reads Avalon Meta Co-Founder found flying again. And dude, I honestly, man, I'm like, did some person get launched out of a catapult?
I swear, dude. I don't know, man. It was just bad. It was really bad.
Yeah. Well, we are here to change that today. So, Shashank, let's dive right in. I
Awesome.
have a bunch of questions, folks, for Shashank. And as Yash has said in the chat right now, ask interesting questions to Shashank, stand a chance to win exciting Amazon gift vouchers. But more important than that, I believe, is the reward of knowledge. For those of you who don't believe knowledge is an adequate reward and need something concrete, do ask your questions and you will stand a chance to win these vouchers, right? So we're going to keep today's session light, interesting, and fun with the deep insights coming from Shashank primarily. Today's session, as all of you know, is about building wealth for creators. Now, for those of you, most of you know Shashank, of course, but I'll just tell you a little about him. So, Shashank is the co-founder and CEO of Avalon. And before joining this company, he's worked with Foxbound, Calm India, and Kidu, IIFL Wealth Management, and others. He's got a master's degree from the Strathclyde Business School. Am I pronouncing that right,
Yeah,
Shashank?
yeah, yeah.
I am. Fantastic. 10 points to Gryffindor. All right. That's another thing we share in common, by the way. IIFL, I worked for Anand Rathi once, back in Bombay in 2014, I believe. So, wealth management.
Yeah.
Speaking of wealth management, guys, let's dive right in. Shashank, I have a question for you as we
Yeah.
start, right?
Yeah.
So, as you know, there's a new wave of financial awareness in general today in the creator ecosystem, right? And the development of the metaverse and cryptocurrencies, especially, have accelerated the need for the same, right?
Yeah.
And of course, we are all aware of what happened on the 1st of February, right?
Hmm.
The government has imposed a 30% fixed tax rate on income generated through crypto trading,
Yeah.
right? And the talk of introducing the digital rupee, big terms, big developments. So, the first thing I want to ask you, since we are joined by creators today, is what should creators today
Hmm.
know in order to be ready for building wealth in the future that's likely to see the metaverse expand beyond what it is today and
Yeah.
also witness significant growth of the crypto economy?
Got it. Got it. I think that's very interesting, right? Because that I don't think anyone's talking about how to plan for the future that's maybe 3 to 5 or 7 years away, right? We don't know how far the metaverse is. We also don't know which metaverse is going to be famous, whether it's going to be Facebook's metaverse universe, or if someone else is going to come with their own universe and you want to go there. We don't know about that yet. But let's understand the core fundamentals of this, right? The core fundamental of this is basically, what is the metaverse? Metaverse is basically the same thing that is happening in the physical universe, which is going to happen in the digital universe, right? So me coming and teaching you finance here, from a physical element, I'm going to do the same thing maybe in the metaverse. So I log in with my VR headset, and then I start teaching you with a lot of these obviously plugins and graphs, and just throw them out here, there, everywhere, right? So I think eventually we're all going to move into the metaverse. I know some people call it sad, and we're going to live in this digital world. I think it's inevitable. I mean, we're already on our phones so much. Maybe next 10 years we'll be on VR headsets when it's affordable. So I think if you're planning to build your wealth in the metaverse, so first you need to keep reading about the metaverse. Number one, you need to understand what's happening in the metaverse today. If you've seen recently in the past, Walmart has applied for patents to actually go and sell goods on the metaverse. McDonald's recently applied for a trademark as well, where they will do a store in the metaverse where you can go in the metaverse, order something, but the delivery is physical, right? So it's online delivery through maybe your coins. Maybe there's a MACD coin, or maybe you're just buying it through Bitcoin, and the delivery comes home in the physical world, right? So now you see that there is this merger happening from a digital universe to a physical universe. So we need to think about how can we capitalize on this with the new technology that comes up, with the new coin infrastructure that comes up, and that's evolving like there's no tomorrow, right? Every day there's something new coming up in the metaverse space, and it's also become extremely exciting. Now the advantage here is you can interact with people en masse. Now what is happening right now is I'm on YouTube just going doing a video and coming out. It's one is to many kind of a conversation. But tomorrow I can literally book a hall over there and obviously pay the organizers of that hall, host one of my sessions there with maybe millions of people or thousands of people over there, and then also they can interact with each other, which is currently not happening on YouTube. There's no peer-to-peer engagement or interaction, right? And there's so many other things that can also happen at the same time. So if you are planning to build your wealth there, then see what can you merge from the physical to the digital world, because eventually you're going there, and see what new technologies you can adopt, because it's constantly changing, which can actually be used to make money, right? And don't go into something that is not making sense or is just cool and hyped right now. So for example, just don't go into the metaverse and say I'm going to launch a Shashank Udupa NFT, right? There is absolutely no use case for me to launch an NFT right now. If I really need to do that, then I need to first build up infrastructure around it, utility around it, and only then maybe go into that NFT game or whatever. And there'll be so many things that come up at the same time. So just keep educating yourself and be ready. At the end of the day, whether you're in the physical world or in the digital world, there's one thing that remains constant, which is content, right? And I think this is also something that is very important on Pepper content itself. Is if you don't give valuable content, whether you're in physical world, digital world, or wherever, right, nobody's going to listen to you. So you focus on creating a good piece of content and give it to that in a nice, unique, entertaining or non-entertaining, or just in your own style, and be real as much as possible. That's all I would say.
Very Yeah, that's really interesting. You say that because I've been thinking a lot about this, and especially because I have some friends, who are into NFTs, and
Yeah.
they're trying to merge some games with NFTs, and I keep seeing these ads for games like Upland on, the Play Store and things
Yeah.
like that, and I always wonder, if I play that, is it worth my time? If I get into the NFT game as a creator, is it worth my time? And
Yeah.
so, what you're saying is it's worth exploring, it's worth understanding right now, but
Hmm.
one has to first understand what value it has for you as a
Yeah.
creator, and whether getting into that space at this time can help you create true value, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting,
So
interesting.
it is going to be a very big market. In fact, most of the creators are going to move to the metaverse itself, right?
Hmm.
If you see how the creator economy in the streaming space has picked up with gamers streaming, right? I mean, earlier I would think who would go online and watch a guy playing a game for 1 hour? I would rather play a game for 1 hour than watch someone playing for 1 hour. But dude, you see so many people, so many streamers on Twitch, and Twitch entire business is on this, right? Now imagine the same process in the metaverse, and there's so many. I don't even know what new economy that will build. Streamers
Yeah.
is now. What if something else comes up? Then I have no idea. So be ready for it, but keep reading up about it.
No, absolutely, man. I mean, the company I work for as well, right? Glance.
Yes,
It's
yeah.
got a bunch of live games, right? So,
Yeah.
there's a ton of gamers who are streaming their games on that, and it's one of the biggest things on Glance right now. So, people, we've got celebrities coming in, but
Yeah.
sometimes the games overtake that, right? So, it's
Correct.
really exciting. It's an exciting time to be in, I think, right? Speaking of, by the way,
Mm,
since you're talking about creators and how to be ready for the future with the metaverse and with the growth of crypto, um, in an ecosystem right now where creators definitely do have the need, let me know if you disagree with this, but I feel creators in today's ecosystem need to strike the right balance between community and commerce, right? Because
mm,
we've had this whole thing about the paid partnership label on Instagram and things recently, not so recently, but it's been talked about, right?
yeah.
Are you truly engaging your audience, or are you just looking for monetization opportunities? But in a world like this, where an increasing need is being felt and realized by creators all around the world, how does a creator establish multiple revenue sources to
Mm,
develop a sustainable monetization mix which
mm,
does not impinge upon their ability to create on a regular basis,
yeah.
but at the same time provides that sense of authenticity to their audience?
Yeah. So I think I'll come to the first part, right? The balance between community and a sustainable source. So I mean, community is my bread and butter, right? What we do at Scenes itself is the entire part of building a community platform and giving this community platform to everyone else. And me and Barun, I mean, my co-founder, we've been building communities from day one. When we had our audience, we first started with WhatsApp, then went to Telegram. That bloated up, so we went to Discord. We had 50,000 users on Discord. Then we said, you know what, Discord is so inefficient for communities. Let's build our own platform. We built our own platform, and then we now white label it and give it to companies, right? But we know the power of community because, dude, that connect that you get with the people is not the same that you do it on Instagram Live or on a YouTube Live, right? Because community is peer-to-peer interaction, standing for the same goal or the same purpose. And I keep saying this, right? When you're building a community, it's not my community, right? It cannot be a single man's community. It has to be a peer-to-peer engaged community, right? So it's standing for the same goal of financial literacy and something related to finance, but I want people to help people, and the perfect community is where there's peer-to-peer help going on, and you don't need me to even come there and help you guys out. So that is one. And the second thing, when you talk about monetization, right? So I have this very weird take on monetization. I might be wrong, but I feel in India, whenever someone monetizes or whenever they put the paid promotion tag, it is looked down upon. And I don't know why that is the case. And I've seen so many people with comments and people thinking in such a way. And I keep telling them, boss, think about this. There's a creator who's taking out his time, effort, energy, giving you free content, right? He's literally trying to teach you in the most simplified manner, giving you free content, not asking you for money. And he's doing a maybe 30-second integration or maybe a 30-second plug of a particular brand, which you will forget in the next 50 seconds. So how is that wrong, right? You're just watching it for 30 seconds, uh, but the content is still there, right? No YouTube creator or no creator is going to put on content which is bad. And I'm pretty sure I know most of the guys that who are close to me, we don't promote something that we don't know. And people think that, okay, there's 4 or 5 brands we promote. We get 30-40 brands a day, right? And I keep getting so many crypto brands who are like, you know what, we have a new NFT project, why don't you go and shill it out? I'm like, dude, I don't even know what you do. I'm not going to put my face on it. So I rather use the product first, or I've invested in that product, so I believe in that product. And then if it screws up, then it's fine. It's a different issue, right? But a lot of people think paid, if you're doing paid, if there's a paid promotion tag, then you are not authentic. But the content is still authentic. He's coming there, he's teaching you from about 3, 4, 5, 6 months, and all you have to do is 30 seconds. And I keep telling this to people because if that person stops doing paid promotions, let's assume this, how do you think he's going to monetize,
Yeah.
right? If that doesn't happen, he still needs a team to handle his YouTube or Instagram. He's going to monetize from you. Right now, the free content that you are getting starts becoming a paid course, a paid cohort, or a paid live thing, when you're going to pay through your teeth, right? 5 grand, 10 grand per person. So instead of that, watch that 30-second video. If you don't want to watch it, skip it. There's an option to just skip the promoted part and just focus on the content. A lot of people get the 30-second part of a video spoils the entire 20 minutes of the video, right? And I've seen that happen a lot. So I don't know, I keep telling this to people that, boss, we're not stupid, we know what we're doing. We have more to lose than anyone else, right? So we won't go promote any Tom, Dick, and Harry brand. We know exactly what we're doing. So that is there. And if you're talking about stable sources of monetization with a mix, I think that is very important, and not many people are looking at it. Because look, it's also about trends, right? The finance boom that happened after COVID was a trend, right? The YouTube creators who were there before capitalized on that trend a lot, and a lot of new guys came out with the same goal of financial literacy. If you think about, before, would I ever go on YouTube and watch a 1 hour episode on the stock market? Never, right? I mean, it was very, very high intent niche audience. But after this IPO boom that happened, and you had this option of making 2x, 3x, and 20% gains in 7 days, everyone is like, okay, I need to get educated. What is the stock market? And the younger audience came in, which was amazing, right? But this younger audience was never taught in school nor in college about what stocks are, how do they work, what is upper circuit, lower, so basics, right? And I think that helped a lot. And I think creators realized that, capitalized on that, adapted with the changing trends of the industry. Because Instagram was first IGTV, then suddenly skipped to Reels, and then YouTube also is constantly changing from long form to live to now short form. Um, so I think for a creator, I don't think you should focus on the short game, because the trend might end tomorrow, right? Tomorrow, instead of finance, we might have maybe beauty as a trend tomorrow, and all the finance creators might not do anything at that point. So don't depend on the single point of revenue saying companies will pay me and I'm going to keep doing this. Try to figure out other sources. And what is the main thing that you have? Your actual capital is the social capital that you have. What is the social capital? You and your audience connect. If the audience is not there, you're not there, right? So a lot of creators forget that, saying they're bigger than the audience. And I'll get big brands, but I keep saying this, that just focus on your audience. Rest will just, it's a byproduct. So if you want to build sustainable sources of revenue, focus on the content and try to make content which is everlasting and long lasting. Think about how to survive for 3 years and not just come in the trend. Oh, suddenly something's happening in Ukraine, I'll make a video on it, right? Or something's happening which is trending right now, Shiba Inu, I'm going to make a video on Shiba Inu. That's not going to last, because people know that they can't trust you so much. So yeah, I think that is.
Absolutely fascinating, because my day begins and ends with consuming content, right? I think that's true for most of us these days. There's very little you can do to avoid it.
Yeah.
So, in a jungle of content out there, how do you make your content stand out? That question, I think, can be answered to a certain degree by what you just said, right? Think of the
Mm.
long game, because
Yeah.
when you're focusing on the ephemeral, when you're focusing on the short term,
Mm.
your short term gains might compromise your long term growth.
Yeah, exactly.
Something might go viral, because I've seen a bunch of creators, right? They'll have 300 views, 400 views, 3,000 views, and then suddenly there'll be one post over there, one video that'll have 100,000 or even a million, right? And then they
Yeah.
drop to 3,000, 4,000 again.
Yeah.
So they've
Yeah.
hit the nail on the head for that moment, for that trend or whatever, but then it's not consistent.
Correct.
There's no growth in terms of the community that follows them, the people who
Yeah.
engage with them. So absolutely on point stuff, Shashank. Thanks so much for shedding some light on this. I want to move a little now to I'll come back to the whole thing, because creators are in focus in our
Mm.
conversation. But speaking of creators, no, um, fintech is a very big term, right? A lot fintech gets thrown around so much, especially for those in Bangalore.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
Everyone's like, "Oh, I work in fintech. I work in fintech." So earlier, you used to say that you throw a stone, somebody is going to be working for an IT company. Today, it's the same thing is true for fintech, right?
EdTechs also come in the same way now.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
going to get another EdTech founder.
EdTech and fintech, and I've worked in both, so I've been hit by many stones along the way.
Yeah.
But speaking of fintech, Shashank, I remember reading last year Andreessen Horowitz writing that
Mm.
um, eventually every company is going to be a fintech company,
Mm.
and there's no two ways about it. And that kind of makes sense, because the current numbers reflect that the global fintech market, correct me if I'm wrong here, but from what I have read, the global fintech market is set to reach $305.7 billion by
Wow.
2023, and we're a year away from that. And that's a
Mm.
mind-bogglingly large number, right?
Yeah.
So we are. I think it's quite evident that we are on the way to the world being a fintech world, every company being a fintech company. But
Mm.
as far as the creator economy goes, right?
Mm.
There are brands which work with creators. There are
Correct.
creators who become brands, right?
Yeah.
Creators are the new businesses and the brands.
Yeah.
Um, a two-part question. What does that mean for the creators and the brands or the companies? in terms of do they need to gain more knowledge about fintech? Do they need to understand the fintech world? Are there any is there something they need to know to be better prepared for a world that is
Hmm.
going to increasingly be defined by fintech
Yeah.
and bordered by it? That's the first part. And the second part is, given the fact that people want to monetize their work, creators want to monetize their work more and more, and content creation is not just going to be about the current forms that we see, right? There's going to be
Hmm.
so many different things. You spoke earlier about the metaverse.
Hmm.
The current fintech infrastructure that we have in India specifically,
Yeah.
do you think it has the capacity to accommodate this bloom in what is now being referred to as contentpreneurship?
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. I think what you said in the start, right? Now Bangalore has literally so many fintech startups that you can't count. It's a very weird thing because the number of fintech companies are much more than the number of finfluencers. They call them finfluencers, right? So the number of influencers who are in the finance space are very less compared to the guys. So whenever you have a beauty product, you're going to find a beauty influencer because they know the domain. But when you talk about finance, it is 100% required for them to keep up to date. I'll tell you why. There were so many new concepts in the world of finance that came out quite recently, which even I wasn't aware of, right? So, for example, BNP, that buy now, pay later. ये कहाँ से आ गया suddenly from nowhere, right? Then we have something like Slice, cut it into three payments. Now these are all different, unique fintech business models. Then we had neo banking coming in. The neo banks were like, oh my god, what is this? You don't even need there's no physical paper at all. You just open a bank account. It's so easy. In crypto world, you see staking coming into the picture. You see DeFi coming into the picture. These are all financial avenues of making some kind of monetary gains, right? And I think for a creator right now, if you don't know the basics, you're screwed, right? Big time. I mean, see, if you read what is DeFi and you come and tell that to your audience, they can cut through the bullshit, saying that you don't know anything, you're just reading off a script. Uh, the advantage here is the aha moment that you read that and you say, this is how this impacts this variable, that variable, that variable. So, if you're talking about the first part of the question, which is, are brands now looking for contentpreneurs, right? 100%. I'll tell you why. Earlier, if a company wanted to do advertising, what would they do, right? In the previous world before COVID, TV ads, IPL ads, hoardings, digital hoardings everywhere. And I think that was most of it, right? And Google AdWords and stuff like that. Now what is happening is, because all the younger generation now is glued to their phones, and I think Glance is also doing a tremendous job there, right? Because so many people are glued to their phones, and the younger audience, now ads need to be there. You need to own real estate in someone's phone. That's what it is. Now, how do you do that? Someone goes on YouTube on their phone, and there's a content guy who's talking about finance, and he plugs a particular brand. Now, the reach that that guy gives you compared to any TV ad, right, or anything else, is much more right now. And it's also about status, right? If everyone's talking about something, then everyone's like, oh, that must be cool, let's give it a shot. Let's try it, right? Oh, everyone's talking about this brand, okay, five guys are talking about this brand. And eventually you will go, because the other guy who's not doing this, maybe he's doing TV ads, not reaching the relevant audience. So I think this is started now. And I've also seen creators like Ankur Variku doing TV ads right now, right? There's Raj Shamani doing another TV ad for another company. Finance with Sharan did it for Tyke. So it's mind blowing, because I've never realized that, okay, content creators would end up doing TV ads, and now they've become celebrities. Earlier it was just Bollywood, right? Now Bollywood's gone one step behind, and younger generation has come, and now we're trying to find these heroes. And if you look at White Hat Junior's ads also, they're very heroes driven, right? So yes, I think we have entered that space. I don't know how long this space would last or continue, because look, we have been in an excess monetization zone, right, where the money in the system is a lot. After COVID, a lot of guys got funded. Now, after the dust settles, a few guys would remain. The profitable guys would remain. Then, would they have enough money to do the same thing or not? Will the audience move on to something else or not? We don't know. There's so many variables, because, as I said, finance was something that started 2 years ago in India. But maybe 3 years ago, it might be something new that comes up, which I have no idea about. Right? Earlier, everyone was talking about AI, and now they're talking about finance, and now tomorrow they'll talk about something else. So again, it's very difficult for a niche guy to adapt to everything. So if I'm a finance guy, I can't go suddenly put some new shampoo on my head and say, you know what, this is great. So it's very difficult to understand that. So I think that is what people need to realize, that yes, creators are the face of some brands right now, and it is good. And this entrepreneurship will continue as long as the brands have the money. The minute the brands don't have the money, these guys will not get the money, but they still put the content out. But at the end of the day, it all boils down to the audience. If the audience is not interested in your content, brands are not going to pay you, you're not going to survive. So just keep a long lasting impact. And that's why I appreciate some YouTubers who've built this audience over 3 years, 4 years, teaching CA, basics, and they've got 3 4 million subscribers, right? They've built that long term brand, right? And that will not go away. That is something that's evergreen. So try to build an evergreen brand.
Absolutely, absolutely. Um, that tells me a little about creators and finance, and creators who talk about finance,
Yeah.
who talk about fintech, and the need to be aware. You've emphasized that yes, it's important to be aware of the developments, and you've also talked, I think this further reinforces your point of playing the long game over just
Yeah.
short-term content. What I also want to understand right now, and this is for the lay creator, right? Someone who's just started creating, or
Yeah.
someone who's been creating for a year, maybe 2 years, and they're starting to see the followers come in, and
Hmm.
now they have realized that, chalo, now it's time to monetize. Now let's
Yeah.
start making our money,
Yeah.
because I've built my brand, I've built my followership, right? I've
Yeah.
built my audience. My community is a good community. So
Yeah.
now, and right now they're at a point where they're on YouTube, they're on Instagram, they're on Facebook, they're on so many different things, right?
Hmm.
Um, Monetization works differently in different places, of course.
Yeah.
Certain algorithms that define the money that comes in, but there are also things like Patreons, right, where you
Yes.
you solicit funds from your audience, saying that, hey, if you like my, especially for gamers, right,
The
tipping is
OnlyFans,
huge.
Twitch. Yeah.
Yeah, tipping is huge, right? And you know I think as time goes by, this is bound to increase.
Hmm.
And the way people accept payments, and the way people are able to communicate to their audiences that, hey, support me and I'll be able to offer you better content, is also going to evolve. So currently, right, so right now, the first time a lot of Indians sat up and took notice about cryptocurrencies when the budget happened this year, right, in
Yeah.
Feb. And then, okay, 30% tax, let's learn a little more about cryptocurrency. But some creator friends of mine have been accepting payments in crypto
Yeah.
over the years. Some people are saying, hey, I accept payments in NFT as well, right? And this is all something that some people know, some people don't. But
Hmm.
let's say 5 years from now,
Hmm.
right, in 2027 or 2028, do you
Hmm.
think we're going to be at a point where anyone, whether it's a lay creator who's just starting out or someone who's been in the space for a few years, will need to be able to leverage different forms of payment, to accept
Hmm.
different kinds of payment? And if so, in the next 5 years, is the fintech infrastructure in India going to be in place to enable that at scale?
Yeah, yeah. See, I think the first part is already happening. I know, I mean, not in India for sure. I mean, India very less. But if you look at um, all the other companies abroad, right? They always have a Bitcoin ID, their address, their Ethereum address, and they're like, tip me, donate. We also take Dogecoin, right? And they just keep it there. So if you like our work, or if you like our content, and in fact, there's one YouTube channel that I follow a lot, which is Kurzigast, right? It's amazing content in a very animated format. They only work on Patreon and donation and tips, right? Now, in India, that's not yet there, because here it's still very monetary on super chat. And I think, in fact, I feel first the platforms need to start integrating this. I think Twitch will integrate it soon. YouTube eventually will integrate tipping via NFTs or even crypto, right? It's inevitable. It has to happen one day or the other. Because, see, for YouTube also, it's a beautiful transaction game. They make some ETH on the side, right? So that is going to happen. That is one, right? So the companies right now, where the audience resides and the influencers reside, or the content creators resides, first has to accept this mode of payment, because now we're bypassing the system. We're putting an address and saying, aap dal do iske andar, theek hai. Now the second thing that is going to happen is, how can you bridge this with the traditional banking system? Now that is the killer, because currently, if you look at the traditional banking system and the crypto system, they're in two parallel worlds right now. It's like they don't like each other anymore. They're fighting for it, because I mean, in reality, the crypto world is saying we want a decentralized world, so we want to finish you off, so that I can transfer to someone in US without paying any fees from the traditional banks. Traditional bank is like, no, but there's a lot of negatives on what you are doing, because you might just run away, right? I feel tomorrow the perfect synergy would be a coexistence of centralized and decentralized, right? So it should be in a form where tomorrow I can buy or sell Bitcoin on through my HDFC bank account, right? Instead of mutual fund, there should be a crypto account, and I can just buy and sell or transfer it or whatever from my HDFC bank account. And when that happens and I start taking payments from YouTube directly into my bank account, and I have a separate wallet there, that will be a game changer. And I think that is inevitable. It has to happen. Maybe 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, there'll be one revolutionary person who does that. Eventually everyone will follow suit, because first they all spoke about banning crypto. You can't do that. It's already spread. It's like a virus. And even if everyone bans it, there'll be one country, it'll be like, we open it for everyone, come here, give me money, right? It was Switzerland, it was Estonia, it was now El Salvador, it was just Ecuador, everything, right? It keeps happening. So I think, yes, what you're saying is right. Content creators should open themselves up to multiple different layers, and that is why it's an opportunity for fintech companies now to bridge this gap, which is anyway happening right now. People are putting their Bitcoin links or another link over there or the address. Why not just have it in the system? And I think more than fintech companies doing it, I think your traditional guys will do it, because I recently read Shopify is also doing an integration right now in the crypto, I think with NFTs or with cryptocurrency. I'm not sure. Twitch will eventually do it, because they're not too gung ho on, we want traditional itself. YouTube will be a big change, but I think they will do it as well. And there will be a massive regulatory battle between different countries and YouTube or anyone. But if that gets approved, then once that lobbying is done, then Google will start accepting payments. Everyone will start accepting payments in that. Razorpay might just accept payments in crypto, right? Imagine that happens. I mean, that's insane. And I would rather take half salary in crypto and half salary in cash. But the main adoption is, can I go buy something using crypto? Can I go to a liquor store tomorrow, or can I go to a supermarket tomorrow and just tap something and it cuts from my wallet? I think it is possible. I think it'll definitely be possible.
Fantastic. That's really interesting. And in 2028, I hope to be able to ask Glance to pay my salary half in crypto and half in.
It'll be
uh,
a mad world. It's going to be a mad world. And I want to be there for that mad world, because it's going to be an intersection of fintech. It's going to be an intersection of fintech, metaverse, NFTs, crypto. And it's like that other world is slowly engulfing the traditional finance world. And it's going to be fun to see how that merger happens. And it just opens up insane amount of opportunities for everyone, I feel.
yeah, yeah. Um, you know, uh, really interesting perspectives on crypto and fintech and stuff. I want to take one step back right now, and I found a very interesting question that one of our audience members has asked. This is from CK Arora, who is the founder of the Happiness Institute, something I
Hmm.
must check out after this. And the question is, how does a founder of a given community, right,
Hmm.
a YouTuber or whoever, monetize peer-to-peer conversations that take place? Is it possible in the first place? And if so, is there merit in doing it? And again, if so, how does one do it?
You want to monetize on the peer-to-peer conversation?
Yes.
That's already happening. I mean, these are private groups. So basically, I know for a fact, like if you look at a lot of people in the traditional finance space as well, you won't have to be a part of the stock market group or this Telegram group or this secret Discord group, where you have to pay like a lot of money, right? 10,000, 15,000 rupees a year. And you get into this group where your peer-to-peer interaction is happening. Now, the persons joining that group or the people joining that group are not staying for the content, right? They're staying for that peer-to-peer interaction. So I think that is how you facilitate as a founder. Make a private group, but also ensure that that private group is awesome. So ideally, you start free, show that this is awesome, and then gate it eventually, right, for the new guys, and don't charge the old guys. That's the advantage, right? When you create a community where peer-to-peer interaction is there, the possibilities of monetizing is endless, right? Whether it's through peer-to-peer, whether it's through a shop, whether it's to private gated events, right? So even if I want to join this air meet, maybe pay me 99 rupees, right? Fine, no issues. So a lot of advantages to that. So that's why I say, build a community, keep it free, and then there's 10,000 ways you can monetize that later on.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'll give. There's another question that came earlier,
Yeah.
which says, "Please speak about current wealth creation processes since Meta is in the works and far to come." To this, Shashank, I just want to share
Hmm.
that I've been conducting workshops and I do sessions, and I really started doing a lot of them in 2017, right?
Yeah.
17 to early 22, I've done over 150, 200
Nice.
workshops and sessions
Wow.
and different things. Because I enjoy teaching, right?
Yeah.
Now, and this is something that I feel our audience might also find fascinating given the question that's been asked. Current wealth creation process, because to give an example of creation and community, to link it to that, right? uh, I did some guest lectures in certain colleges, BITS Goa, BITS Hyderabad,
Hmm.
IIT Kharagpur. These were a combination of events and lectures in Christ in Bangalore,
Yeah.
and some colleges in Bombay, and so on and so forth. Then I started doing workshops with certain cafes in Bangalore and Bombay
Hmm.
and Delhi and things like that. Different places, different sources, certain organizations which offer courses started to reach out to me.
Yeah.
Now, the audiences for each of these, right, very disparate,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Some are students, some are young students, some are older students, some are law students, some are literature students, some are not students at all, but entrepreneurs who want to learn more about how to write the perfect business pitch and different things, right?
Yeah.
But what I started to do since from 2018, because
Hmm.
2017 I didn't quite realize that this could be done. But
Yeah.
people started to stay in touch with me, and they asked me, "So when's your next workshop happening?
Wow.
I want to do a more advanced level of this." I'm like, why don't I monetize this? Why don't I create a group, a community,
Hmm.
right? So I set up a newsletter. I set up an email list. I set up a WhatsApp group,
Hmm.
right? I tried different things to get these people together and say that, hey, so this is something I'm doing. Would you like to join this as well? So earlier, where I would get only 50 participants,
Yeah.
now I'm posing the same thing to another 300, and I'm
Hmm.
getting another 50 participants from there as well.
Wow.
So the income I would get from 50 people is now an income I'm getting from 100 people, right?
Beautiful.
And
Yeah.
so building that community really helped me, beyond just building it on social media. I
Hmm.
also built it on via email. And I know that this sounds very antiquated right now in
Oh,
2022 to
yeah.
say email, but I think it's a balance, right? I myself, as a creator, who's someone who's starting to be more of a creator, I'm trying to
Hmm.
learn more about these processes of monetization, community building, wealth
Correct.
creation myself. But as a bridge to that point, until I get there, I'm still relying on certain tried and tested methods of the
Yeah.
past. This includes, reaching out to people, meeting them over coffee and things like that.
Hmm.
Do you feel that's important to bridge the new methods with the old?
100%. I mean, 1000%, right? Because people underrate networking so much right now, in today's date. Because see, I'll tell you what, I can do how many ever reels I want, I can do how many ever YouTube videos I want, and the monetization there is completely different, right? But again, there is no connection between me and my audience. If I can't do, I have to go to offline meetups, right? So when you talk about newsletters and when you talk about, I was having an email list and I was having a community where I was talking to them and I was doing workshops for them, the underlying core concept was still people are coming and paying you for the content that you were giving, and you were giving some kind of an aha moment to these guys which they've not already seen on YouTube or something else, right? So I think bridging that gap is definitely 100% important, and people underrate networking so much. And I keep telling this to people, right, especially when you're young, just go out there and just go to every event that's happening. And a lot of people are like, oh no, this is such a useless event. At that point it might be useless, but maybe 3 years down the line you'll be like, you know what, I had met you in that. And that's the world, right? It's so beautiful that today you might meet someone, like today I met you, right? I met you, but maybe 5 years later there'll be some kind of connect that I reach out to you again, and maybe something happens. I have no idea about that. So a lot of these small things should be kept in consideration. Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yeah. I think there's a bit of a glitch over there. I'm not sure whether it was my internet or what happened.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I get the gist of what you're saying, Shashank.
Yeah.
It's important to network. It's important to build.
Bridge the gap. Yeah.
Yeah. To So it's not just utilitarian, right? It's also about being inspired. I feel it's
Correct.
not just, I build my networks in order for me to find value in them at some point, but it
Hmm.
also teaches me things that can help me improve at a personal level, at a professional level, and so many different things, right? I have met my financial advisor at a poetry event. you know, Sh- uh, it. I believe we've lost Shashank's connection. Yash, if you're in the session, or anybody from the Pepper content team, if you could just check on that, please. Folks, in the meanwhile, could you drop a comment if you're still able to hear me? Maybe just drop a thumbs up. Am I audible? Okay, perfect. Thank you. Thanks, folks. Um, as we get Shashank back, there's a quick question. Help us a little in understanding about my work in Glance. Well, so Glance is a very interesting place. It's a lock screen platform available on phones in India and Indonesia, and we're expanding globally this year. What I do over there is I work in the brand marketing team and I focus on content marketing. So I'm always on the lookout for interesting scripts. I work towards developing these ideas that could, help us, increase awareness about Glance and our value proposition. So that's primarily what I do over there. And, it's a fun place to be. I enjoy it because as someone who's a creative soul, I think being in content marketing is a great space right now. Shashank, welcome back. I'm so sorry we
I
lost you
think
there
there's
for a
some
while.
glitch in my Wi-Fi, but I just connected to my phone now, so it
Ah,
should be okay.
perfect. All right,
Yeah.
man. So yeah, as I was saying, absolutely. So networking super important, community super important. Speaking of uh content creators, right? And you're a YouTuber yourself, right? I've seen a
Mm.
lot of your videos, and I really liked your AMA. Your Ask Me Anything that happened 2 days ago. So that
Yeah.
was really quite interesting, man. Um, I Everybody knows Mr. Beast, right? I mean, I don't think there's a single content creator or a YouTuber who doesn't know Mr. Beast, and I'm almost embarrassed to bring it up in almost every session I do because it's like, ha, ye to baat hone hi wali hai. People are going to bring it. But something interesting over here, Mr. Beast, and I think you must have seen this. And folks, those of you who follow him on Twitter, um, he tweeted quite recently that he wished there was a way, a method to invest in creators like one invests in stocks, right?
Yeah.
I see a stock, I see something I like, I see a financial product, I like it,
Hmm.
I think it's going to add value to my portfolio in terms of building wealth, and I acquire it, right?
Yeah.
Is it possible? And this reminded me a little about what used to happen during, the Medicis in Italy centuries ago, right?
Yeah.
Where or even in the Mughal courts, where you had people who would sponsor you, who would finance you, right? Who would become your patrons.
Yeah.
Is there a way? Do you envision, based on what you have seen, a system coming into place where if I like the work a content creator is doing, could
Hmm.
I invest in that person's growth? Could I invest? Could there be a Kickstarter for not projects but
Hmm.
creators, right? Could there be like step goals saying that, hey, I'm going to create the funniest video that's going to talk about situations that you have been in if you continue to fund me for the next 3 months. And if
Yeah.
that's a value proposition that someone likes and says, hey, this is something I need for my mental health, or this is something I need for, maybe I can leverage this creator's content for something
Hmm.
I'm working on later. um,
Correct.
is this actually going to become a phenomenon soon? If at
I,
all you think so,
yeah.
what I'm more interested in is what this will look like in terms of risk. So, two-part question. Number one, do you think it'll happen? If so, how risky will it be?
Yeah. No, I think it will. I mean, it will happen. Eventually, it will happen because I think there was one company that tried doing this. I think BitClout, if I'm not wrong, right? Tried doing this from a cryptocurrency angle that you are a creator and you have a social capital which is determined by the audience. So tomorrow, if I go do an ad with a TV company, my rate is going to go up. Basically, it's that, right? It's your boli laga rahe tere, whatever on your net worth or whatever, right? And I also remember there was a VC company in, I think, I don't know which country that was. They invested in a YouTuber, right? So that they can get some kind of revenue from that YouTuber going forward, right? So that was also there. So I know that people have started doing this, investing in YouTuber. Like I would love to invest in Mr. Beast, right? If I get the chance, and just take a small cut from his revenue. That's it. It's simple fact. But how to make it accessible to the entire universe, where we can all take a small chunk of Mr. Beast's success and all. I also feel there's two problems to this, right? And it's great to have a system like this. Number one, that we can all have some ownership stake in some creator, and you're betting for the long term game. But now there's another offset here, right? The second part, as you mentioned, is the risk. First of all, if there is a system like this, do you know how much burden of stress that puts on the creator? Oh, crazy, right? Because if I take a vacation for a week, my rate's gonna go down. And now that is gonna be your soul and whole goal that, oh my God, I need to go up. Oh, that guy's net worth has reached 1,000 per token and I need to reach there. And you stress yourself out, you burn yourself out trying to reach that point. And what? You can't stop. That's the worst part about YouTube, right? You cannot stop. If you stop, it screws up the entire algorithm again. So you need to keep doing this day in, day out, at it, constantly going in and out. And the second part is, what if tomorrow I just quit? right? There are so many people who have invested in my whatever brand, and then I just walk away tomorrow, and I'm like, dude, I'm done. I delete all my accounts and walk away. All your money is gone out of the window. So I think it's a mixed situation, right? Because I know this would be great if it happens, and that is the same thing that we're doing with companies today, right? We are investing in companies because we feel there is some monetary brand value on those companies. Even they can shut down and go tomorrow. So same way would that happen with creators now, because creators themselves are becoming brands and companies itself, right? Individual companies making tons of revenue, internal and outflow, and also giving employment now. So is that going to be something that becomes great? Might be, but is there risk? Amazing amount of risk, and also I think YouTubers and creators will just get screwed big time on this. The peace of mind will go, because now my content creation gets hampered, because now I'm doing stuff just to increase that thing, and I'm not authentic anymore. And again, long term game comes into the picture there. So I don't think it's a very good idea. It'll come, but I don't think it's a good idea. I would want
So
to like really do my videos in my own time frame, right? So
absolutely.
yeah.
There's something very interesting over here that I've been exploring, both as content marketing manager at glance as well as personally as a creator. The rise of virtual influencers, right, Shashank?
Hmm.
There's been a
Yeah.
bunch of virtual influencers that we've seen, especially in China, Russia,
Yeah.
and some other places, right?
Yeah.
And these virtual influencers have insane following, right? If it was an actual person, they'd be mobbed wherever they went.
Yeah.
I think this also creates a lot of opportunities for people to monetize their content without actually being present in the frame.
True.
So I think going forward, we will, at least from my standpoint, I think we're going to see the rise of more virtual engagements, because I want to tie it back to the metaverse that you spoke of, right? Going
Hmm.
forward.
Yeah.
Now,
100%.
the question is one of the ship of Theseus, right? If you are a creator and then you have a virtual avatar,
Hmm.
right, that puts out certain content, is that your content or is it your avatar's content?
Yeah, I think content should still be mine, even though if it's in a. So I know what you're talking about. There was this concert that happened, I think, somewhere in Korea or Japan, which was through a hologram. There was a hologram, which is not real, but there were millions and millions of people watching that concert, right? And I don't blame them. I'll tell you why. Because see, I'm a big fan of Dragon Ball Z, right? I've been watching it through my childhood. So
Same,
tomorrow, if
same.
Goku's coming on stage and doing something through a hologram, I would still go pay for it and watch it. And I'm like, oh, there's going to be a real life fight between Goku and Vegeta. I'm going to watch it. So why? Because they're heroes, they're brands again. So now whether it's me physically coming, which is going to be a luxury, by the way, tomorrow in the metaverse theory, right? Physical meetings are going to be luxury. You sitting in a restaurant in the physical world will be like, wow, this is one of those unique experiences. Because I'd rather just go and sit in some restaurant in Japan, right? Because it's I can do that at an instant. But yeah, me virtually coming there is already going to be very important, right? If you see it right now, even me virtually being here is great. But if I had made my entire self like an avatar and I was talking, it's still me talking, right? As long as it's me doing the content in the background, I think that is important. But dude, I wouldn't be surprised, because I know for a fact that there are some companies in the southeast region, right, where even the content is manufactured by the changing trends of the world. So it is not authentic. It is just what gets you that spike, and that is being plugged into that system and it's coming out. So I don't know. Like I really don't know what. That's why I said it's a very weird world. Because I know for a fact tomorrow you don't even need to be present in front of people. And we saw that happening with some musicians as well, right? Where they put those marshmallow type heads. You don't even know who that guy is. So let's see. I don't know. It's going to be a weird, mad world.
Interesting. So on that crazy exciting note, it's time. As much as I would love for this session to go on and on, we do have a limit on time, and we have about a few minutes left. I'm just going to pose a couple of questions to you, and if you could give one line answers,
Done.
right? That's your challenge for the day, Shashank.
Done.
Um, all right. So Priya Mishra from Amazon asks, people these days are running towards wealth creation like there's no tomorrow. Is there anything is there anything in particular they should keep in mind before actually engaging in it? Does all content creation require necessitate wealth creation as well, or can the two exist independently?
So that's what I say, right? It's not bad. I think yes, it should be there, because it is their time and effort that's going in, and nothing should be that free in this world, because you're taking his time and effort, right? The fact that a lot of people are running towards it, yes, it is true. There are some people just running towards it, but there are some people who are very systematic on it. I know so many people who are just doing one brand and they say no to every other brand because they believe in that one brand. That's it. So it's two people on the same spectrum, right? You can't really compare on that. It's each person has their own journey to get there. It's as simple as that.
Fair. That's a great answer. Another couple of questions which I'm going to combine. So, in fact, these are two questions by the same individual.
Yeah.
Suvendra asks, what would you say is the biggest mistake in wealth creation, and you know, what's the right thing to do in terms of, are there any lesser known passive wealth creation products or services that we can have? And so that's number one. And number two, if there is one mistake that you would say people make when it comes to going towards wealth creation or engaging in that process, what is that?
I think one biggest mistake that you see with wealth creation is focusing too much on wealth creation and not your core competency, which is content creation. So don't misuse content creation to wealth creation. Always have content creation as your number one and wealth creation as a byproduct. When you go towards that side, the dark side, you start losing out on everything else, right? So that would be the biggest mistake. Passive income, dude, with the advent of fintech, there's so many passive income. Earlier, it was just selling some passive product. Now it is selling. If I put a referral link and someone signs up on it, I get some money. If someone makes an account, I get some money. There's just so many weird new techniques that are coming up because brands have also realized that creators are in it for the long term game and not just the short term game. So making one video is not useful. I want them to be a brand ambassador now. And also a lot of influencers are also investing in companies, right? I myself have done three. So a lot of these guys are investing in these fintech companies also. So it's going well. Yeah. Biggest mistake, don't fall over to the dark side. Focus on your main. Why did you reach here? That is important. So yeah.
Words of wisdom from Shashank the Jedi. Don't fall to the dark side.
Yeah.
And then I think the last question, and I'll take the privilege of asking you the last one if you don't mind,
Yeah.
Shashank. It's been a fascinating session, some really valuable insights, so I appreciate that a lot. But before we sign off for the day,
Hmm.
uh, I want to ask you, as a mentor, as someone who's a content creator, as somebody who's an expert in fintech as well,
Yeah.
combining all these three roles that you essay, parallelly, what is that one piece of advice that you would leave to a content creator in terms of building wealth?
Okay. So I think one key thing that I would talk about for building wealth. See, if you are, first of all, don't give up. I've seen a lot of these guys, as you said, right? They have 300 views, and then one video shoots up, right? And most of these guys give up before that one video shoots up. So I think keep focusing on creating good content and don't be disheartened that you're getting 300, 400. Even we all started that way. Nobody started with 1 million subscribers, right? It's a struggle. Do that. When you start getting money, please understand how taxes work, because even as an influencer, you can save a lot of money, or else you'll keep paying lots in taxes. But when you talk about wealth creation, do it, because I'll tell you what, every content creator has a phase. There's a phase where you're very relevant, and there's a phase you're just existing. So when it is your time, milk the cow, but don't just go on the dark side. I keep saying that, right? Focus on content, everything will follow, right? It's very difficult to bring a long lasting brand. I would play the long game rather than playing the short game, right? Don't get into that mindset of, okay, YouTube is paying me so much, I need to hit 1 million subscribers, this and that. Aa hi jayega. If you're consistent, you will get that 1 million subscribers. So don't burn yourself out to do it right now. I'm okay to reach 1 million maybe in 2 3 years. Fine, play the long game, because the cycle will turn again. There will be another wave, and this, at that point, be ready for it. So keep at it. Keep at it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I think the takeaway for me personally, now that you've answered that, is be consistent, right? Focus on sustainable growth rather than sustaining the growth and doing it too fast.
Yeah.
And I think another thing that I would take away is it's important for a creator like
Hmm.
me or our audience over here, those in the audience over here, to be aware and stay abreast of the latest developments in financial technologies so that they can understand upcoming opportunities on the horizon to monetize
Yeah.
their work, as well as prepared to enter an exciting world of the metaverse where content creation is going to be transformed from how we see it today.
Hmm.
Yeah. would
100%.
that
Yeah.
would that sum up the essence of what your message is?
Yeah. 100%. 100%.
Fantastic. Fantastic, Shashank. Shashank, I want to thank you once again so much on behalf of Pepper Content, and obviously, like from me as well. We just want to say thank you so much for your time, for your insights. It's been a great session. I want to thank our audience for being here with us, for listening, and for asking such these really amazing questions. Right, Yash, how many Amazon vouchers are we handing out?
Hey, so it totally depends on the number of questions throughout the sessions asked. We'll evaluate
Mhm.
that post the session ends. So, but yeah, like
Right.
I
Do
can
we
assure
want to
that.
get Shashank to choose?
Sorry.
Do we want to get Shashank to choose top three questions for now, and then we can evaluate the rest later?
That would be great. That would be great.
I mean, I don't know where the questions are coming. To be honest, is it on the Q&A tab?
Yeah, Q&A tab
Yeah,
on the
it's in the
right.
Q&A
Okay.
tab,
I think the biggest mistake
guys.
question
The
you asked.
session on
Sorry. Go ahead.
no, I was just saying that the session on building wealth is turning into a session where wealth is actually being built now, thanks to these Amazon vouchers. So
No, I think the question that you asked about the biggest mistake, that was really interesting. I think that is something that is um, should win one of the vouchers. I'm just going through the other questions. Um, this is a long session. I don't remember half the questions. um, there's another question I think by Hajira, who talks about how to balance content value for your audience and wealth creation, and having a balance with content creation. I think that we spoke about a lot in the thing that don't go over to the dark side, keep a good balance. I think these two questions from my end. I think the third one I'll leave it to you guys.
fantastic! Thank you so much, Shashank, and congratulations to our winners. Thank you, Yash, for helping us at the back end of this. Really appreciate what the professionalism with which Pepper Content has been running Next Big Creators. Folks, stay on for other sessions. Lots more exciting ones coming up. Move on to the next, and we'll see you on the light side as we are not going down the dark side.
Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
Sudeep.
All right,
Thank you.
folks.
It's
Thank you
a
so much.
pleasure. Thank you, man.
Bye.
We'll
Bye.
see you.